Good day, everybody. Welcome back to week number 2 on Intro to Business. So here's where we're at. I wanted to give you guys a video update and review of week number 1 and kind of a peek of week number 2 and what to expect. So week number 1 went very well, guys. As you all know, you had to complete your syllabus quiz. If you did not complete your syllabus quiz, you have probably been dropped from this class. So it's unfortunate because you're obviously watching this video and it's not working out for you. So week number 1 consisted of chapter 1 and chapter 4. As I mentioned in my previous video, and as you see on the screen, we are not going in order. We're not doing 1, 2, 3, but week 1 was the big one. Week 1 is chapter 1 and chapter 4. And then our discussion for the week was tell me about yourself, which was pretty straightforward and simple. Just want to remind you in our discussions, you will need to reply to 2 other classmates and my video or reply to a question I might post on your discussion. The key to this is having interaction not only from my end to your end, from you to other classmates, and then back from you to me. So it should look at some level that we are interacting amongst each other. That's the purpose of the discussion. And in my point of view, that's where I see you're understanding some of these concepts. I don't have the ability to hear you speak, obviously, so this is how I know you are understanding some of it. Let's be honest, the work that you're doing online is pretty simple. You have a lot of access to the internet. If you have any questions, you Google it, you Google search some of the answers. I get that. So the only option I have to understand if you're understanding something is by the discussions that you're saying. So I can tell in your discussion post if we are actually teaching something. So please make sure you're putting effort in that discussion. As I mentioned in the past, I do not want to put a word minimum. I think that is not my style. I don't like it. I feel like you are all here for a purpose. You are here to accomplish something, and I'm trusting in that. Well, let's move on to week number 2. Week number 2 is going to consist of a very similar structure. We have 2 chapters. In this case, will be chapter 5 and chapter 6. Plus, our discussion this week deals with ethics. Now, this is not the only 2 ethical views of the world, but these are 2 big ethical views. And the video is designed to just kind of play and give you examples of what these look like. But the 2 that I am proposing that you try to identify with is utilitarianism and, of course, deontological ethics. Now, deontology is a duty-based ethics. It's a lot of people who have a faith-founded ethics tend to view this as their ethical perspective. This is going to say it doesn't matter. The rules are the rules, and we must follow the rules. Lying is always wrong. So if you were to have taken this class in person, one of the questions I propose on day 1 is lying ever a good thing? Now, deontological ethics is going to say never is lying a good thing. But then as we dig deeper, you start finding that even those who believe lying is not a good thing sometimes do lie and feel as if that's acceptable. So the other version that I wanted to compare to is utilitarianist. A utilitarian or utility comes from the concept that the end result is going to justify the means. In other words, we are going to find the best way of doing things that are going to benefit the majority of the people. That's another way to put it. The one way that I like to describe this is if your family was starving. Now, of course, a lot of people give other random answers to this, but at the purest form, if your family was starving, you had no money, and there was a bakery, and would you break into that bakery to take a piece of bread so your family won't starve? Now, people would say, well, I'll knock on the door and ask the owner if he can give it to me at credit, or I would work for the owner, I would do this. Yes, all of us would. But if put in a situation where you have no other option, would you take the bread without paying for it to feed your family? Or would you steal a medicine that's going to cure someone? That's utilitarianists would say, of course I would, because the end, saving my child, is justified by me breaking the law. Now, as you know, this plays out in our TV and news all the time. People wonder, why would someone come to this country illegally? Well, they justify it with utilitarianism. I come here because in my country or wherever I'm from, I am starving. My family's starving. I will rather break a law and for the end to justify the mean. I'm not saying it's right and I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying this is the ethical perspective that allows people to do that. So in this form, I'm trying to get you to kind of analyze how you make your decisions. The purpose of this discussion is to self-explore. What would you do in situations? Another one would be, would you kill an innocent child to save thousands of others? And, you know, it just depends on your ethical perspective. So I'm not going to influence your thought at this point. I'm hoping that you guys can have a very good discussion in regards to this. You know, it's always better when you find someone that opposes your view to challenge you versus someone that views it just like you and confirms what you think. I challenge you, students, to go look for someone that didn't answer the way you did so you can be challenged in your perspective of these things. No one here is right or wrong. It's just the way we process things, and the purpose is for you to identify what's your method of processing information like this. All right, the other two things I wanted to talk to you about is Chapter 5. Chapter 5 is very important. In this course, in Intro to Business, we're trying, as it states, introduce you to the environment of business. So we're going to go through these sort of points in a business environment. So the first, Chapter 5, deals with the small business entrepreneurship and franchising, which is what a lot of people think about when they talk about business. When people come to me and they find out I'm a business professor, they're probably referring to this portion of business. They're saying, oh, I own a small business. How can you help me do it better? So this is probably, for most of you business majors, is what you're going to get a lot of questions on. So I would specifically pay attention to this because it's going to talk a lot of stuff that you're probably going to be questioned when you get out into the real world. Now, the other one is going to give you a overview of what management is, the nature of management, a little bit about the history of management, how we got to where we're at. But management is a portion of business. It's within the business umbrella, as is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship doesn't equal business. It is a part of business. Franchising doesn't equal business. It's a part of business. Accounting doesn't equal business. It's a part of it, as is marketing. So this Intro to Business class is sort of the big overview picture, the macro view of the business. We're going to fly over business and just kind of learn of all the concepts that are within it. So Chapter 6 deals with management, which specifically should be interesting to you if you are a management major. So one of the things that you will be studying will be principles of management, which goes deeper into this chapter than what obviously in Intro to Business we do. So that's about it. That's the only thing I have for you guys. I hope you're doing well. We had a great start to the semester. Please don't slow down. If for some reason or another you were not able to complete all your assignments in week 1, move on. Please just go on. Let's move on to week 2. Do not fall behind. I don't want you playing catch up. I just want you to start Chapter 2 and let's move on. We'll address those issues as we go along. So guys, I appreciate all your hard work and we will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful week.